if you can hear me okay, nice and clear.
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Can you guys still hear me? Because you guys are frozen on my end.
Oh, I can hear you.
Can hear you.
I can hear and see you.
Oh, weird. Okay. Okay, there we go.
Hello, JR. Mark, Danielle.
Good night.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Can we see my screen? Everybody can see it okay?
Let's see. Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you, Oliver. Okie dokie. So tonight we have our community chat. Our agenda for tonight, we're going to start with our, just before the participant intros, we're going to go through some rules and organizational updates, yes. Then we'll go into a land acknowledgement facilitated by David. We'll go into what the Caribbean Canadian identity is all about. We'll have a discussion, not on leadership, on emotional intelligence. We'll take a quick break. And I forgot, we just added Julia and Josiah's section on the coat of arms, so that we'll be doing that just after the break. And then we will continue on with a little bit of the emotional intelligence stuff, talk about membership sign up, and then move into our feedback form at the end. So this is what we are talking about when it comes to members and guest information. Participants, i.e. members and guests, are those who self-identify as Caribbean Canadian and who are serious about joining the Caribbean Canadian identity social movement and who are serious about joining the membership. If you'd like to apply, that is the link, www.ourchm.ca/apply. And are serious about the membership, will collaboratively engage in a purpose-driven dialogue to advance the Caribbean Canadian identity social movement. A couple of important notes for our community chat tonight. Since we are engaging with members from our community as well, participants are required to familiarize with the social movement in advance. There is a YouTube video that we should have watched ahead of time. Participants are required to engage in the discussion and must be visible for the entire duration, except breaks. I'm also going to make this a little smaller. This event may be live streamed, recorded, and published on our platforms. Tonight it is being recorded. And if new guests are interested to see and to experience what our fun regular meetups and discussions look like, your free invitation is actually valid for next Sunday. So, participant intros, what I want from you all. What is your name? What Caribbean countries do you represent? Why did you join our movement? For current members, and for those potential members, why did you decide to attend this meeting? I'll start with myself. My name is Amanda. I am representing the country of Guyana, and I joined this movement because I was looking for people within my own community who are all passionate about the exact same thing, people who are driven, people who are fun, a great way to network, and a great way to spend time and de-stress. I'm going to go in order. I'm going to stop my share just so that I can see everyone and go in order of those on my screen, but I'm going to put the questions in the chat so that you know what it is or which questions you need to answer. Alrighty, so if we check the chat, you should see these questions in there. I'm going to start with Bev. Bev, what is your name? What Caribbean countries are you representing? And why did you join our movement?
My name is Beverly, representing St. Lucia. The reason I joined I was looking to get to know people from other islands and interact with them, on a social level, more so than anything else.
Okay, thank you, Bev. Oliver?
Hello, guys. Great to see everyone on a beautiful Sunday. So my name is Oliver Levy, representing Jamaica. And for me, why I joined this movement, it was easy for me because it's the community base that this movement provides. Plus, as you said, Amanda, when it comes to networking and connecting with like-minded individuals, and also to leave a legacy for my kids.
Very nice. Thank you, Oliver.
You're welcome.
Danielle?
Good night, everybody. It's Danielle representing St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I joined this movement because similar as wanting to connect with other like-minded Caribbean Canadians and learning more about my Caribbean culture, wanting to pass that info and involvement down to my daughter, and as well to be a part of something big and making positive change in our community.
Thank you, Danielle. Nadia?
Hello, my name is Nadia, representing Barbados. I joined the movement because I wanted to connect with positive, forward-thinking, driven people who look and sound like me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. Jer?
Hello, my name is Jaya. I'm from the lovely nation of St. Lucia. I joined this movement as a way of helping spread awareness of our rich Caribbean culture, our history, our heritage, especially as a way to pass it on to generations to come and to keep our culture alive and well within the Canadian diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you. David, what about you?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Good. Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you. I'm David. I'm representing Trinidad, Jamaica at St. Vincent. I joined the movement to, I believe it's to be redemptive of what I'm proud of. And also I'm learning to spread what I learned. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, David. Mark, what about you?
Good evening. My name is Mark, representing Jamaica. I joined the movement to learn from the community, to assist with the community, and for my kids to learn as much as they can about the Caribbean.
Thank you, Mark. Lisa?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa, representing Barbados, and I joined this movement to be around like-minded individuals, to learn more about other Caribbean countries other than Barbados, and to pass along the knowledge to my kids and future generations.
Thank you, Lisa. Alicia, I know you just signed in, and so I don't want to skip over your turn, so I'm just going to go through the questions really quickly with you as well. In the chat, it says our 4 questions are there. So I'm just asking for your name, what Caribbean country you're representing, why did you join our movement if you're a current member, or why did you decide to attend this meeting if you're a potential member? And you're also on mute, just so you know. Hello? No audio?
Okay, sorry, I'm calling from my phone. It's not as easy as when you're using your laptop when you can just kind of click the buttons. I was trying to find the unmute button. Yeah, so my name is Alicia. I'm representing Jamaica. I decided to join this group because I wanted to meet other Caribbean parents and have activities and more kind of family oriented stuff to do with my my children that was culturally relevant to them, and that's not really, I guess, prevalent or easily accessible. And even though I live in Toronto and there's a lot of us here, it doesn't seem like there isn't any kind of organized, I guess, groups or gatherings or people doing this. So that's what I liked about the group and why I joined.
Okay, thank you very much, Alicia. Glenford, are you available to share right now? Glenford, you're on mute, so I can't hear you. There
Yes,
you go.
good afternoon. Good afternoon. How y'all doing?
We're good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm just here to learn as much as I can about other Caribbean countries. I'm from Jamaica, and that's it.
And what? And your name? Okay. Alrighty. That's nice, short and sweet. Works for me. Thank you, Glenford. And Camille, are you available?
I'm here. Sorry, my camera's still not working. I'm Camille, representing Trinidad and Tobago. And I joined or started the movement in an effort to reclaim and reinvent the Caribbean Canadian community and what it means to be Caribbean Canadian in a way that positions our children and future generations for success. Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. I will go back to sharing my screen so that you can all follow along with what's coming up as we continue on this evening. Next up, we're going to have our land acknowledgement by David. So David, whenever you're ready, you are free to begin.
Yes, I'm going to just read the Toronto area land acknowledgement. The City of Toronto acknowledges that we are on the traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Hanishinaabe, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. The city also acknowledges that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaties signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. The City of Toronto has been acknowledging the traditional territory since March 2014. This is a Caribbean expert from the internet as well. I've read it here at the community chat several times over the last year, and I'll just read it quickly now. The Caribbean region was colonized by European nations in the 17th and 18th century using enslaved African labor. They introduced a plantation economy to the region, mainly based on sugar, but also rum, cotton, coffee, and cocoa. Most Caribbean countries were under colonial rule even after the abolition of slavery. However, it must be noted that Haiti, a former French colony, was the first Caribbean nation to gain independence from a European power in 1803. Even before the French abolition of slavery, this was after what was known as the largest, most successful slave rebellion in the Western Hemisphere from 1791 to 1803. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much for that. Next up, we will take a look at our Caribbean Canadian identity. This is something that we hold very near and dear to our hearts at this group. And we are referring to people who are native to or descending from Caribbean nations, regions, territories, including their variations by ancestry, ethnicity, and who currently reside in Canada and self-identify as Caribbean Canadian. We represent and serve and also belong in the Caribbean Canadian community, so please be deliberate in supporting the sole shared identity in our space. We do not promote racism or colonialism, so unscientific labels such as Black, brown, and white are not tolerated. Further, political hate and religious debates are not tolerated. At this time, we will be sending our poll out.
Sorry, Amanda, am I able to speak on someone's behalf who's not here just for a quick 30 seconds?
For sure, David. What would you like to?
I should have done it during my check-in. Rexella gives her condolences. She wanted to be here today because she wasn't at the last meeting, and she called me and said if I would please give her apologies because it is near the anniversary of her passing of her son 2 years ago, and also one of the friends his age who came to the house many times. You might have heard about it. He passed away. He fell off a bicycle.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, David, for bringing us that message. Sorry, was there any more to that? Did I interrupt you or were you finished, David? I think that was the end of our message. Okay, so 5 out of 8 have voted. Has the poll popped up at the bottom of your screen? Yes? Okay, so I'll just wait for a couple more votes on that poll and then we'll move into the rest of our presentation. Alrighty. Alrighty. Great, perfect. Thank you everybody for filling that out. I'm gonna close this and reshare my screen. Okay, let's get some involvement from the rest of you guys instead of me just talking at you. Can I have someone volunteer to read this slide for me, please?
I'll read it.
Go ahead. Thank you so much.
Recognizing that race is a social construct, the Commission described people as racialized person or racialized group instead of the more outdated and inaccurate terms, racial minority, visible minority, person of color, or non-white.
Thank you very much. Just so everybody knows, the reason that we mentioned this is because we want to ensure that we are being as inclusive as possible to our community. We don't want to focus on skin color, although that is the one thing that people seem to notice as the difference between all individuals, regardless of where you're from. But especially in the Caribbean, where we're so diverse, we don't want to be focused on the color of our skin. Rather, we want to be focused on our cultural commonalities. And so we want to work towards bringing people together from the Caribbean. And so one way to start by doing that is to ensure that we aren't using outdated terms like these ones. Any questions so far? Alrighty, is everyone aware that there are 43 countries in the Caribbean? Is there anyone here who didn't know this? And Oliver and Beverly, can I have you just keep an eye on the chat and individuals as well? Just because I can't see the screen as I'm speaking.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said sure.
Oh, thank you, Oliver. Does anybody see any countries on here that they didn't know was a part of the Caribbean? No? Alrighty. So
Nicaragua is considered Caribbean?
It is.
That I did not know.
Oops, sorry. So, our main historical Caribbean ancestries are, we have African, Asian, European, Indigenous, South American, and South Asian. The main languages that you'll find in the Caribbean, Creole, Dutch, English, French, Papiamento, and Spanish. Any one of these surprise anybody, or is there one that they haven't heard of at all? No? Everybody's heard of these before?
No.
Alrighty. So, really quickly, the state of our community and our purpose. So, the Caribbean Canadian community is suffering an identity crisis. This is by Camille Kurt, our president. Does anybody agree or disagree with this statement, and for what reason? You can unmute and just give us a little explanation of why you chose either one of those. No? Okay. Well, the way that, or the fact that we are suffering an identity crisis, it shows up socially, economically, politically, culturally. And because of that, it's important for us, it's necessary to, in order for us to have a crisis, in order for us to generate a movement, which is what we are aiming to do here. For a social movement, we need to identify a problem. The problem in this case being the identity crisis that we are currently going through. Oh, sorry. We are tackling it by force and we are tackling it by force. We're tackling it by forging a collective perspective, direction, and working unity. Camille Kerr as well. This is our plan. This is our strategy. This is how we are responding to the Caribbean Canadian crisis. So far, do we have any questions about our movement, about what we're doing? Do we have anything in the chat either, Oliver or Beverly?
No.
Okay. So this is our vision, a thriving Caribbean Canadian community. We are here, accomplished and united. We know that our movement will be successful when we see this vision become a reality. Right now, everything that we're doing in terms of networking with one another, joining these meetings, when you really, or inviting individuals from our community to join these meetings, we're taking the right steps. We're getting closer to where we want to be. We're getting closer with every single effort that we're making towards solving this crisis and providing some type of strategy or some type of plan on how we're going to get to where we want to be. It starts with a vision, something that we can all think about in a united way. And for us, that is our thriving Caribbean Canadian community. Sorry. When we take a look at Maslow's hierarchy, Maslow has created a hierarchy for us where he looks at the needs that individuals need. And you see this pyramid right here on the right-hand side. At the very bottom of that pyramid, it starts with physiological needs such as food, water, warmth, rest. These are things that we will not be able to survive without. After those needs are fulfilled, we will then move on to safety needs. So things like security, safety, making sure that we feel secure and safe in the places that we live. After that need is fulfilled, we go on to belongingness and love needs. So intimate relationships, friends, that's where we all come in. And together, by working together, coming on these meetings, we are fulfilling that need for each and every one of us on this call. As we start to fulfill that need, we can move higher up that pyramid into esteem needs, prestige, and feelings of accomplishment. As we are able to accomplish things together as a group, as we create these events and we move forward in the future, we will be able to meet this need and then move on to the final and the one at the top of our pyramid, self-actualization, where we are achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. And so really, when you get to the top, it feels like you are, the sky's the limit. You've already reached where you needed to be, and now there's no better feeling than that. When we take a look, or when we extrapolate from Maslow's hierarchy and what you see on the right, and we put it into what it is that we're trying to do here, we can kind of do the exact same thing. Where we see physiological needs, we have also the equivalent in terms of our organization. So CWS, Caribbean Women's Society, CCPU, Caribbean Canadian Parents United, and then C5, the Caribbean Canadian Chamber of Commerce and Community. From here on out, I'll be referring to them as CWS, CCPU, and C5 respectively. But the physiological needs in terms of our organization, progress, moving forward, being able to establish and really hold our ground when we talk about the Caribbean Canadian identity, which includes refraining from the use of words such as black, white, or brown, very divisive, dividing terminology. Having a growth mindset, being able to find yourself in a situation or a problem that may be negative or that may set you back, but knowing that you have the ability to move forward and grow from that situation, finding the solutions that you need. Having knowledge, and even if you feel like you aren't bringing knowledge here, although I don't believe that anyone can't bring any knowledge here, just the stories and the experiences and the wisdoms that you have are knowledge enough. But knowledge, you can learn something here as well from our Caribbean community here and the individuals who are here, the stories that they have, the knowledge that they bring. Inclusion of friendship, a sense of belonging, that is why we're here, to engage and to network with people in our community, having free will, freedom, communication, being willing to communicate, not just being able to communicate, but being willing to communicate with individuals in our community. Also forgivingness, reconciliation, healing, regardless of what the situation is that you've been in, presence, participation, engagement. You can, as much as you want, be very passionate about the community, but unless you are actively trying to participate and engage and have your presence known within the community, you really won't get as far as you would like to get. Independence, self-reliance, autonomy, reinventing, redefining, or renovating, whether that is your mindset or the choices that you make. And the last one, accountability and responsibility. After those have been met, we can then move into our mandate. So improving the quality, our mandate here in our organization, improving the quality of life for the Caribbean Canadian community. Our mission, to connect and to enable Caribbean Canadians. And at the top, you see our vision, a thriving Caribbean Canadian community. So the 12 at the bottom, these are our beliefs. This is our collective perspective, not just board members, but also members who join every single week to share their experiences, their feelings, to talk, to vent, to foster relationships. They are the values that will help to point us in the right direction that we want to go to. Any questions about any of these so far? Anything that anyone would like to say?
I don't have a question, but I just want to go back a little bit. I think I probably missed this. I think somebody asked about Nicaragua, and Camille put something in the chat. Nicaragua has a major Caribbean influence on its Atlantic coast with a vibrant mix of indigenous, African, and European cultures.
Thank you.
Just to get some more clarity on that. And also, Camille talked about lack of identity, meaning we are losing our culture connection and a sense of belonging. And add to Amanda's hierarchy, we all want to be successful and reach our full potential for ourselves, our children, etc. We want to encourage our community to be aware and to focus on what's required to achieve this kind of success. Thanks, Camille. And that's it.
Thank you, Camille. Anything else that anyone, does anyone tonight have any questions so far? Alrighty, so we will move on. So this is the slide that I was talking about, with our basic needs, our psychological needs, and then our self-fulfillment. So at this, on the right-hand side, you can see that these ones, the first two, physiological needs and safety needs, are considered our at the very least, our basic needs. Then we get more into our psychological needs, so the things that are the best for our mental health, belongingness, and love needs, including, and also our esteem needs. And then the last one is our self-fulfillment needs. The red arrow is where we're at, which is our belongingness. Other than that, does anyone have any, or does anyone need any more clarification on our adaptation of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? If I don't hear anything, we'll move on to the next slide. Okie dokie. So let's take a closer look at our beliefs. So the ones that are here at the bottom. Psychologically, members would buy into what these 12 fundamental beliefs are. So progress, forward, Caribbean Canadian identity, our growth mindset, knowledge, inclusion, all of these things are things that we would like individuals who are joining our movement to also share in terms of their perspective as well. These are all essential to the types of programs, the types of events that we put on. Every single thing that we do have these considered into what we're planning. We do want these 12 principles to be the core of what we want to put out there, because in order for us to have people follow what it is that we're putting out, we also need to lead by example, starting with the things that we believe within the committees, the events, the community networking that we are putting on. Now, moving forward, can I get someone to read this slide for me?
I can, Amanda.
Thank you.
Did you know cultural identity is an important contributor to people's well-being? Identifying with a particular culture gives people feelings of belonging and security. It also provides people with access to social networks, which provide support and shared values and aspirations. These can help break down barriers and build a sense of trust between people, a phenomenon sometimes referred to as social capital.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Does anyone have anything to say about this? Is it straightforward? Do we want to explain any more? If I don't hear from members, I will move on to the next slide. You can always put your comments in the chat as well. So going back to reminding you of the fact that the Caribbean Canadian community is suffering an identity crisis. The next few slides will explain why we have doubled up on these slides. Reclaiming and reinventing the Caribbean Canadian community is the Caribbean Canadian identity. It's a huge part of why we are doing what we are doing. This is essentially our social movement. It requires leadership. It requires consensus at the end of it as well, because if we're all fighting in different directions and pulling in different directions, we really won't move anywhere. But if you think of tug of war and you're all pulling on the same end, you'll all be able to have that flag move past the finish line. And that's exactly what we want from members and individuals in the community alike. We are starting from scratch because we don't have a Caribbean Canadian identity. It's something that we have to invent, and we have to also foster with people in our community. We're creating a template for our community, something that can be passed on from this generation to the next, and something that the next generation can use to teach others that are born in Canada but maybe don't have the funds or the experiences or the wisdoms that individuals today might carry with them. We are here with a master plan. We're accomplished. We're united. And this is going to take time. Nothing happens overnight. But over time and with continuous conversation, being very redundant, communicating, discussions, over different generations, we are confident that we can have this this movement. We can bring this movement to life. With different generations, though, we have to remember that we need to be able to adapt. Everyone is coming from different experiences and wisdoms, and so we have to be respectful of that as well. So how we are fostering a collective sense of positive self-esteem, community, and belonging. We're moving how we are advancing it forward. We are fostering a collective sense of positive self-esteem, community, and belonging, as I just read from the slide. But the way that we're doing this, our social movement, again, the things that I've mentioned before, reclaiming and rebuilding a Caribbean Canadian identity, cultural identity, changing divisive or colonial language, again referring to the use of color terms such as black, white, or brown, instead referring to the entire population as Caribbean Canadian, as celebrating the things or the commonalities that we have with one another, the values, the cultural traditions that we have, rather than looking at each other and using a black or a brown or a white word in place of that. And so the next question then is, how do we get there? How can we get to that place that almost seems like a utopia? Well, we can start by stop using those divisive terms like I've just mentioned, but also translating the information that we're learning today to our children and those that come after us, the people who will be able to pick up the legacy that we're creating and move it forward and teach the next generation what it is that we would like to establish within our community. Joining our Sunday meetups. Our Sunday meetups are a lot of fun, but they are also highly educational. We try to put in fun facts wherever we can, and also have information on coat of arms, for example. You'll hear that information tonight. Independence Days of countries in the Caribbean, which I would completely be oblivious to if I didn't join these Sunday meetups. Lastly, how can you get there? One of the most important ways of getting there is becoming a member yourself, understanding what it means to truly be a part of a community and to try to unify in the way that we think and adapt to the things that, or the issues that are occurring, or the advances that we're making, or the challenges that arise. Any questions so far? No?
Just one comment, not much of a question, but I think I totally agree with what you said there, Amanda, and our groups, just being a part of this group, you know, me personally, I've learned so much from everyone, you know, that's joining the calls and joining the meetings and just the discussion, you know, whether it be food or specific things around heritage, just the differences between islands. We talk a lot about fun facts, we're learning about flags, stuff like that. It's good, and it's a lot of information that's out there that, you know, we're also learning from our elders, right? And a lot of that is coming and being passed down to us, which we can pass down to our kids, right? So I think it's good, and our generations are changing from, you know, when I was growing up, you know, for the most part, you know, my family being Jamaican, we kind of gravitated toward Jamaican people. But going through school, you know, it ended up that there's people from all different islands and we all came together, right? So that's starting to happen, and we continue to learn from each other. And we just need to continue to learn that, not lose the heritage, and pass this knowledge on to our future generation.
Exactly. Very well said, Mark. Thank you.
Also in the chat, Camille talked about, you know, we can share the knowledge in our circles, and, you know, even this live, we can share this live and, you know, invite other people to come to our meetups and show up, participate, volunteer your natural talents and abilities with us.
Exactly.
Thanks, Camille.
Thank you, Camille. Yes, volunteering, a really great way to feel great about yourself, but also to add to what we're pioneering here, right?
Amanda?
Yes.
Sorry, I believe Glenford has a comment.
Go
He's
ahead.
got his hand up.
Sorry, I can't see Glenford.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So sorry about that. No, I'm just listening and taking in what is being said, and it seems very educational. So that's all I have to say right now. But it seems very educational and very good that we are doing this.
Yes, yes, and we're happy to have you here, a part of what we're doing, Glenford. Thank you. Going back to what Mark said too, even just, I know myself as a member, learning that within the Caribbean, there are all these exotic fruits that a lot of us refer to as different names just in the Caribbean alone. So can you imagine, like outside of the Caribbean, we have all just fruit or like a dish. We have a different name, or Jamaicans have a different name, Guyanese have a different name, Trinidadians or St. Vincent, wherever you're from. But it doesn't mean that the dish changes. It just means that the name is different, right? And then it's happened so many times with people who my family's friends or with, Jamaicans and Guyanese and Trinidadians or wherever in the Caribbean you're from, they'll just start to describe a dish and they'll say, hey, we have that, or we have a variation of that. And it almost seems like that alone, that in and of itself serves as some type of similarity that brings you closer, right? And so with what Mark's saying, in school, it's very true. The cliques start to form where you're not just now Jamaican, you're Caribbean. And all of these people who are part of your clique, they all have been exposed to things that are so similar to what you are, that now you're a collective, you're a group instead of an individual among a whole entire community, that at the time being your school. So thank you, Glenford. Thank you, Mark, for sharing. Is there anything else in the chat before I move forward?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Perfect. So this is our segment on the board update, but before we get started on that, I do want to pause for a second so that we can have Josiah and Jalea share a little bit about the coat of arms and Independence Days that are coming up or that have passed. So Oliver, are Jalea and Josiah ready for that?
Yes, they should be in a couple seconds because I got to share my screen.
Okay.
Give me a thumbs up, anyone, that you can see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. So the way it's going to go real quick is that I think they're going to be presenting 4 flags that have important dates. So I'm going to show the flag. You guys going to probably guess what country or region, Caribbean countries that's from, and then we're going to go into their presentation. Okay, cool. So anyone wants to take a guess which Caribbean country this is?
Honduras.
You got it.
Honduras coat of arms. The arms to be used are an equilateral triangle. In its base, there is a volcano between 2 castles. Over them a rainbow, and below it, behind the volcano, raises a sun spreading light. The triangle is settled on a terrain bathed by both seas. Around it, an oval containing the golden letters República de Honduras Libre Soberana Independiente, 15 de Septembre de 1821. In the upper part of the oval appears a quiver filled with arrows from which hang cornucopias conjoined with a tie, and the whole lies upon a range of mountains, on which stand 3 oak trees on the right and 3 pines on the left, and, conveniently distributed, mines, a bar, a drill, a wedge, a sledgehammer, and a hammer. Honduras's independence falls on September 15, along with the rest of Central America.
What country is this? Somebody was asking about this earlier. Is it this one?
Nicaragua?
I think so.
Yep.
Nicaragua coat of arms. The coat of arms of Nicaragua consists of a triangle that signifies equality, a rainbow signifying peace, The Phrygian cap symbolizes liberty, and the 5 volcanoes express the union and brotherhood of all 5 Central American countries. Lastly, the gold words surrounding the emblem, República de Nicaragua, America Central, in English meaning Republic of Nicaragua, Central America. The states that compose the Central American Federation, the states known today as Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. These areas are declared independence from Spain on September 15, 1821.
Who can tell me what flag this is?
I'm gonna take a stab at it. Can I take a stab at it?
Go ahead.
Guatemala?
No, you might want to try again. Go ahead, JR. Help out
Mexico?
Danya. JR to the rescue. Mexico, thank you.
Mexico coat of arms. The coat of arms of Mexico displays a Mexican golden eagle perched on a prickly pear cactus, devouring a rattlesnake. The design is rooted in the legend that the Aztec people would know where to build their city once they saw an eagle eating a snake on top of a lake. The image has been an important symbol of Mexican politics and culture for centuries. To the Europeans, it came to symbolize the triumph of good over evil. Commonly confused with Cinco de Mayo in the US, this holiday celebrates the moment when Father Hidalgo called for Mexico's independence from Spain on September 16, 1810.
Before you move on to the next one, you know, I've always seen that Mexico flag, but I've never actually, the coat of arms, I'd never seen it so clear before, so I didn't know what that was. Very interesting.
Same here. I was the same thing too when I saw it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Anyone wants to guess what country this is? Anyone?
St. Kitts and Nevis.
St. Kitts and Nevis.
St. Kitts and Nevis coat of arms. The center of the coat of arms is dominated by a shield at the base, of which is a lighter in full sail. The lighter is one of the traditional means of transportation. A red chevron is highlighted by 2 poinciana flowers. At the top of the shield is a carib's head, flanked by a fleur-de-lis and a rose. The caribs were the early inhabitants of the islands, and the fleur-de-lis and rose signified the island's English and French influences. A helmet topped with the battlements of a tower appears with a flaming torch upheld by 3 hands, 1 Caribbean, 1 Caucasian, and 1 mixed. The torch signifies the struggle and quest for freedom by people of diverse ethnic origins, but united in purpose. The shield is supported on either side by pelicans, the country's national bird, with wings extended, displaying a sugarcane plant and the coconut palm tree, which are extensively cultivated throughout St. Kitts and Nevis. The British in 1623 and the French in 1624 were the first Europeans who settled on the islands, and on September 19, 1983, St. Kitts and Nevis attained independence within the British Commonwealth.
Thank you. Thanks, Amanda. Thank you, Josiah.
Thank you, Oliver.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Always great information from you too. So at this point, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. So we'll meet back at 8:25, and then we'll get into the emotional intelligence segment and a few updates from our organization.